They've been teaching me about the planet's true nature. Yunbi continued. Every species here works together in ways we're only beginning to understand. The toxic plants that killed alien colonists, they were actually trying to heal them. But the aliens' biosuits prevented the healing compounds from working. Vexhai, the Zephyrian who had chosen to stay, joined their conversation. My people pride themselves on their advanced sensors and analytical equipment. But all our technology couldn't see what these humans discovered through simple observation and patience. He gestured toward a group of children playing nearby, both human and alien youngsters laughing together as they rode on the backs of creatures that looked like flying manta rays with raw, Imbo-colored wings. The sky dancers were classified as dangerous predators in our reports, Vexhai said. But they're actually gentle creatures who love to play. They've been teaching our children how to fly. Engineer Yuna watched in amazement as a small human girl soared overhead on one of the creatures, both of them clearly having the time of their lives. This is impossible. The physics alone should prevent those creatures from carrying human weight. That's what I thought too, Jinwoo admitted, until I realized they don't fly using normal aerodynamics. They manipulate the planet's magnetic field. Once I figured that out, I was able to build hover platforms using the same principles. He showed them a sleek vehicle that looked like it had grown rather than been built. It hovered silently above the ground, powered by crystals that resonated with the planet's natural energy. The Confederation spent billions trying to terraform worlds to match their technology, Dr. Seojin said, joining the group round the fire. We learned to adapt our technology to match the world. But why didn't you tell anyone? Captain Kyung-soo asked. Why let the galaxy believe this place was worthless? The survivors exchanged glances, and researcher Hannah spoke for all of them. Because we knew what would happen. The moment the Confederation learned about the quantum platinum and the other resources, they'd send in mining fleets and military forces. This paradise would become another strip-mined wasteland. So we made a choice. Merrick Soman added. We sent false reports confirming the planet was uninhabitable. We became the ghosts of a dead world, protecting something beautiful until humanity was ready to handle it responsibly. Captain Kyung-soo looked round at the thriving community. The impossible technology, the harmony between species that were supposed to be incompatible. These 8 humans hadn't just survived. They'd created something revolutionary. They'd proven that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't superior firepower or advanced technology. It was the ability to see possibilities where others saw only problems. 6 months after Captain Kyung-soo's return to Earth, the galaxy would never be the same. The news spread like wildfire through every space station, every alien homeworld, every trading post from the core systems to the outer rim. Humans had not only survived on Kepler to be, they had transformed it into something magnificent. The first to arrive were the reporters. Sleek meteor ships from a dozen different species crowded the planet's orbit. Their crews desperate to document the impossible settlement. But the survivors had learned to be selective about their visitors. We're not running a zoo, Dr. Seojin told the assembled fleet of news vessels. If you want to visit, you follow our rules. No weapons, no mining equipment, and you treat this world with respect. The Zephyr News Network's top correspondent, a proud female named Zareth, was among the first to be granted landing permission. She stepped out of her pristine shuttle expecting to find primitive survivors instead. She found a city that seemed to grow from the planet itself. Buildings spiraled up from the valley floor like living sculptures, their walls breathing with the planet's rhythm. Transportation tubes made from cultivated vines carried people and cargo through the air with silent efficiency. Children of multiple species played in parks where the grass actually sang when the wind blew. Through it, "This is impossible," Zerif whispered into her recording device. "According to every scientific model, this civilization should not exist." Her camera operator, a mechanical drone, suddenly stopped working. Not broken, simply refused to function. Biologist Yumbi approached. With an apologetic smile, "The planet doesn't like artificial intelligence very much," she explained. "Something about the electromagnetic fields. But don't worry, we have organic alternatives." She whistled softly. And a creature that looked like a floating jellyfish with crystal eyes drifted down from her canopy above. It positioned itself perfectly to record Zareth's broadcast, its natural bioluminescence providing perfect lighting. The reporter's live transmission to the Zephyrian Empire was watched by over 3 billion beings. Her voice shook with emotion as she described what she was seeing. "Citizens of the Empire, I have witnessed something that changes everything we thought we knew about planetary colonization. The humans haven't just survived here, they've created a paradise." Within days, official delegations began arriving. The crystalline collective's mining guild sent their best scouts, hoping to finally access the quantum platinum deposits. They were met by engineer Jinwu, who had become something of a legend among galactic engineers. "You can have access to the minerals," Jinwu told them calmly, "but only if you agree to extract them the way the planet wants them extracted." He showed them mining sites where humans and Lumina worked together, using sonic frequencies to encourage the quantum platinum to separate naturally from the surrounding rock. The process was slower than traditional mining, but it produced purer materials and left the ecosystem completely undamaged. "Your people tried to rape this world," Jinwu said bluntly to the crystalline delegation. "We learned to dance with it instead." The mining guild's profit margins were actually high using the human methods. Word spread quickly through corporate channels. There was a new way to do business, and it was making everyone richer. But the real revolution came when the Galactic Medical Consortium arrived. They had dismissed medic summons reports as impossible exaggerations. Organic medicine couldn't possibly outperform their quantum-enhanced treatment systems. Dr. Kether, the consortium's chief researcher, was dying of cellular degradation disease. Their most advanced nanobots had failed to stop the condition. He came to Kepler-4 as a last resort, expecting nothing more than to document another primitive medical practice. Soman treated him with a combination of local plant extracts and lumina-assisted cellular therapy. Within a week, his condition had completely reversed. Not just stopped, reversed. He was healthier than he had been in decades. How? He gasped, staring at his own medical readings in disbelief. "Your nanobots tried to fix individual cells," Soman explained patiently. "The planet's medicine teaches your entire body how to heal itself. It's not just treatment, it's evolution." The Galactic Medical Consortium immediately established a permanent research station on Kepler-4 Medical tourists began arriving from across the galaxy, seeking cures that couldn't be found anywhere else. As news of the settlement's success continued to spread, something unprecedented happened. The Galactic Confederation, for the first time in their 1,000-year history, officially requested assistance from a primitive species. High Admiral Trixon of the Confederation fleet stood before the Human Settlements Council, his usual arrogance replaced by genuine humility. "We have 47 worlds that we have declared uninhabitable," he admitted, "planets that could house billions of refugees from the ongoing border conflicts. But our colonization methods have failed on everyone." Dr. Siojin leaned back in his chair, carved from living wood that still grew and changed shape to provide perfect comfort. "And you want our help? We are prepared to offer full partnership agreements," the Admiral continued. "Shared governance, shared profits, shared knowledge. We have learned that what we called human weakness was actually human strength. The Council voted to accept, but with conditions. Human colonization teams would have full authority on the selected worlds. No military intervention. No corporate exploitation without consent. And every planet's indigenous life forms would be protected and studied rather than destroyed. Within 2 years. 17 of the impossible worlds had been transformed into thriving colonies. Each one became a unique paradise, adapted to its specific environment rather than forced to conform to alien expectations. The galaxy had learned a fundamental truth. Humanity's greatest power wasn't their weapons or their technology. It was their absolute refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. Ships from every corner of known space now carried a simple motto painted on their hulls: think like a human. The age of impossible had ended. The age of adaptation had begun. The END, they're only toxic when stressed. Hannah explained. Treat them gently, and they actually become beneficial. Some of them produce nutrients we can't get anywhere else. As night fell outside, Jill watched through a crystal window as the planet's true beauty revealed itself. The acid storms created spectacular light shows in the sky, while bioluminescent creatures emerged to dance in the safer valley areas. The aliens saw obstacles. Seojin said quietly, "We saw puzzles to solve." Captain Kyung-Soo's shuttle arrived at dawn, bringing supplies and a full medical team. He stepped out onto the valley floor, expecting to find desperate survivors clinging to life. Instead, he found something that made him question everything he knew about planetary colonization. "This can't be right," he muttered, staring at vast, terraced gardens carved into the hillsides. Rows of healthy crops swayed in the morning breeze, their leaves a vibrant green that seemed impossible under the planet's harsh conditions. Farmer De Hoima ged from between the crop rows, carrying a basket overflowing with strange but appetizing-looking fruits. His clothes were simple but clean, made from fibers that seemed to shimmer with their own inner light. Most shocking of all, he looked healthier than most people living on advanced space stations. "Captain Kyung-Soo, I presume." Daeho smiled warmly, offering him one of the fruits. "Try this. We call it star melon. It's got more nutrients than anything in your ship's food stores." Kyung-Soo hesitantly bit into the fruit. The taste exploded across his tongue. Sweet, tangy, with hints of flavors he'd never experienced. More importantly, he immediately felt more energized, as if the fruit had recharged his body's batteries. "How is this possible?" Kyung-Soo asked, looking round at the impossible garden. The Confederation's soil samples showed this planet was completely sterile. Daeho laughed, kneeling down to scoop up a handful of rich, dark earth. "Sterile? This soil is more alive than most worlds I've seen. The aliens just didn't know how to wake it up." He led Kyung-Soo to a section where strange, root-like creatures moved slowly through the dirt. They looked almost like tiny dragons made of living wood, with crystalline scales that caught the filtered sunlight. "Meet our partners," Daeho said proudly. "The Zephyrians call them soil parasites and tried to poison them. But these little guys are actually the key to everything. They break down the planet's natural toxins and convert them into perfect fertilizer." One of the creatures approached Kyung-Soo's boot, sniffing curiously before letting out a tiny chirping sound. It was oddly cute for something that had terrified an entire alien empire. "They're intelligent, too," Daeho continued. "They understand when we need help with different crops. Sometimes I swear they're better farmers than I am." Meanwhile, Merrick Soman was giving Captain Kyung-Soo's medical officer, Dr. Ji-hoon, the tour of his career. Her makeshift laboratory was carved into the side of a cliff, but it was more advanced than anything he'd seen on core worlds. "This is incredible," Dr. Jihoon breathed, examining samples under a microscope made from grown crystal formations. "Your medical equipment is completely organic. But it's more precise than our synthetic instruments." Soman smiled, her hands working skillfully with living tools that seemed to respond to her thoughts. "The planet taught me. When the crystalline collective abandoned their mining operation, they left behind workers dying from toxic exposure. Their own doctors gave up." She gestured to a wall covered in detailed drawings of local plants and their properties. "But I noticed something. The native wildlife wasn't dying from the toxins. They were using them. So I started experimenting." Dr. Jihoon watched in amazement as Soman prepared a treatment using 3 different plant extracts. The mixture glowed softly as she combined them, creating a medicine that seemed almost magical. "This combination can heal radiation poisoning in hours," Soman explained. "The Confederation's most advanced medical nanobots take weeks to do the same thing, and they often fail completely." She showed him preserved samples of creatures that had been healed using her methods. A Zephyrian explorer's helmet sat on her shelf, the biosuit inside completely restored from what had been acid-damaged ruins. "The original owner was dying when I found him," Soman said quietly. "The Confederation had declared him beyond saving. But with the right plant compounds, his body healed itself in 3 days." Captain Kyung-soo joined them as Soman was explaining her techniques. "Where is he now?" Kyung-soo asked. "He chose to stay. His name is Vex High, and he's become our best scout. He knows the planet's dangerous areas better than anyone." As if summoned by her words, a figure appeared at the laboratory entrance. The Zephyrian was tall and graceful, his normally pale blue skin now showing traces of the same healthy tan as the humans. His large black eyes sparkled with intelligence and contentment. "Captain Kyung-soo," Vex High spoke in perfect Korean, his voice carrying the melodic tones of his species. "I've heard much about your arrival. Welcome to the world that was supposed to kill us all. You learned our language?" Kyung-soo asked, surprised. "Languages come easily when you have time to learn," Vex High replied, "and when you're not running for your life. You discover this planet has much to teach." He gestured toward the valley below, where human and alien children played together near the crystal clear stream. "The Confederation saw enemies everywhere. We learned to see opportunities." That evening, Captain Kyung-soo sat with his officers, trying to process what they'd witnessed. Jiwoo's rescue mission had become something much bigger. They'd discovered proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their refusal to give up when everyone else said something was impossible. The truth hit Captain Kyung-soo like a meteor strike when Engineer Jinwoo casually mentioned the evacuation ships. They were sitting round a campfire made from glowing crystals, sharing dinner under the alien stars, when Jinwoo dropped the bombshell. "Oh, we had plenty of chances to leave," he said, stirring a pot of stew that smelled better than anything from the ship's food processors. "The last evacuation transport waited for us for 3 extra days." Lieutenant Minho nearly choked. On his drink, "You mean you chose to stay on purpose?" Biologist Yumbi laughed, the sound echoing off the valley walls. "The Confederation was so eager to declare this place a failure. They never bothered to really study it. They spent 6 months here and learned nothing. We've been here 2 years, and we're still discovering new wonders every day." Captain Kyung-soo felt his worldview shifting. But the reports said this planet was completely worthless. No valuable resources, hostile environment, impossible to colonize. Jinwoo stood up and walked to a nearby rock formation. With a casual gesture, he brushed away some loose dirt, revealing veins of metal that glowed with their own inner light. The material pulsed rhythmically, like a living heartbeat. worthless. Jinwoo grinned. This is quantumly active platinum. 1 kilogram of this stuff could power a space station for a decade. The Zephyrians were literally standing on fortunes and didn't even notice. He pointed to similar veins running through the valley walls. It's everywhere once you know how to. Look for it. The alien sensors couldn't detect it because it only becomes active in the presence of the planet's unique electromagnetic field. Dr. Jihoon pulled out his scanner and nearly dropped it when the readings went crazy. These energy signatures are off the charts. How did the Confederation miss this? Because they were too busy complaining about the weather, Yumi said with a smirk. She led them to a series of pools carved into the rock, each one filled with different colored water. Strange creatures swam lazily in the warm liquid, their scales reflecting the starlight like living jewels. The crystalline collective called these acid death pools and avoided them completely. Yumbi explained. But watch this. She knelt by one of the pools and made a soft clicking sound with her tongue. Immediately, dozens of the swimming creatures rose to the surface, their large eyes fixed on her with obvious intelligence. One of them, about the size of a house cat but with fins instead of legs, actually climbed out of the pool and nuzzled against her hand. Meet the Lumina, Yumbi said proudly. They're not just intelligent, they're telepathic. They've been trying to communicate with visitors for years. But the aliens were too frightened to listen. As if to prove her point, the creature looked directly at Captain Gyeonsu and projected a stream of images into his mind. He saw the planet as the Lumina saw it. Not a hostile wasteland, but a vibrant ecosystem filled with hidden connections and symbiotic relationships. Commander Jiwoo stared at the blinking red light on his console, coffee growing cold in his metal cup. 3 months of routine patrol missions had made him forget what real excitement felt like. The communication ray buzzed with static before a weak signal pushed through the cosmic noise. This is Research Station Alpha 7 on Kepler-4b. We need immediate assistance. Our supplies are running low and the atmospheric processes have failed. Please respond. Jiwoo nearly dropped his cup. Kepler-4b had been abandoned 2 years ago after the mighty Zephyrian Empire declared it a death world. Their advanced terraforming technology couldn't handle the planet's violent weather systems and toxic atmosphere. Even the crystalline collective, known for their ability to survive in the harshest environments, had given up after losing 3 colony ships to the planet's brutal conditions. Lieutenant Minho. Get in here now. Jiwoo's voice echoed through the narrow corridors of their patrol vessel, the Taegik. Minho rushed into the command center, his boots clanking against the metal floor. His dark eyes widened as he heard the distress signal replay. Sir, that's impossible. The evacuation records show everyone left Kepler-4b when the Confederation pulled out. Apparently not everyone got the memo, Jiwoo muttered, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. The star map materialized above them, showing their current position near the Andromeda sector. Kepler-4b pulsed like a red warning beacon, surrounded by symbols marking it as a quarantine zone. Engineer Yuna emerged from the engine room, wiping grease from her hands with a dirty cloth. Her short black hair was messy from crawling through maintenance tunnels. I heard shouting. What's the emergency? We've got survivors on a dead world. Minho explained, pointing at the swirling hologram of Kepler-4b, the planet that made the Zephyrians run away screaming. Yuna's eyebrows shot up. The same planet where their biosuits melted within hours, where their atmospheric domes collapsed under acid rain. She shook her head in disbelief. No way anyone survived that nightmare. The distress signal crackled again, stronger this time. A different voice came through, younger and more desperate. Station Alpha 7 to any vessel in range. We've been monitoring your approach. Please confirm you received our transmission. Jiwoo leaned into the microphone. "This is Commander Jiwoo of the Human Defense Corps vessel Taik. We've received your signal. Identify yourselves and confirm your status. Static, fill the bridge for several 10 seconds." Then the voice returned, filled with relief. "Commander, this is Dr. Seojin. We have 8 survivors here. We've been holding out since the evacuation, but our equipment is failing. 8 survivors," Yuna whispered, "for 2 years on that hellscape." Minho was already plotting their course, his fingers moving quickly across the navigation controls. "Sir, we can reach Kepler-4 to be in 18 hours if we push the engines too. Maximum burn." Jiwoo nodded grimly. Through the main viewport, stars streaked past as the Taigek changed direction. The ship's hull groaned under the stress of acceleration. But the human-built vessel held together. Unlike the sleek alien designs that prioritized efficiency, human ships were built tough and ugly, designed to take punishment and keep flying. "Yuna, I need you to check our environmental suits." Jiwoo ordered. "Make sure they can handle whatever that planet throws at us, and prep the emergency medical bay." As Yuna hurried away, Minho pulled up files about Kepler-4 to be on his personal tablet. His face grew pale as he read. "Commander, the Confederation's reports are terrifying. The Zephyrians lost 47 colonists in the first week. Their bodies were found dissolved by the atmospheric acid. The crystalline collective's mining equipment literally melted into slag, and yet somehow humans survived there for 2 years," Jiwoo mused. Staring at the planet's image, Kepler-440 to be looked beautiful from space, with swirling purple clouds and silvery oceans. But he knew those clouds were filled with corrosive chemicals and the oceans were boiling acid. The communication system buzzed again. This time, a woman's voice came through clearly. "Taigek, this is Researcher Hannah. Be warned. The planet's magnetic field plays havoc with electronics. Your landing will be tricky." "Copy that," Jiwoo replied. "We'll manage. Hold tight. We're coming for you." As the ship hurtled through space toward the impossible planet, Jiwoo couldn't shake one thought. If humans had survived where the galaxy's most advanced civilizations had failed, what did that say about humanity? Were they incredibly lucky, incredibly stupid, or incredibly tough? He had a feeling he was about to find out. The Taigek shuddered violently as it punched through Kepler-4 to B's angry atmosphere. Purple lightning crackled around the hull while acid rain hammered against the reinforced windows. Jiwoo gripped his seat as the ship bucked like a wild horse, fighting against winds that had torn apart Zephyrian battle cruisers. "Hull temperature rising fast," Yuna shouted over the screaming engines. "The acid is eating through our outer coating." Minho's knuckles were white on the flight controls. "I can't get a clear reading on the surface. This electromagnetic interference is scrambling everything." Through the chaos, Dr. Seojin's voice crackled over the radio. "Taigek, listen carefully. You need to land in the valley between the twin peaks. Wait for my signal. The storms follow a pattern." "What pattern?" Jiwoo yelled back, watching sparks fly from an overloaded console. "Trust me. When I say go, dive hard and fast. You will have maybe 30 seconds before the next wave hits." The ship rolled sideways as another blast of wind caught them through the swirling purple clouds. Jiwoo could see the surface far below, where the Confederation reports had described a barren wasteland. He saw something impossible. Green patches scattered across the rocky terrain. "Wait for it." Seojin's calm voice cut through the storm noise. "Wait. Wait. Now. Dive now." Minho didn't hesitate. He threw the ship into a steep descent, engines screaming as they fought against the planet's gravity. The Taigek dropped like a stone through a brief gap in the storm clouds. For those precious seconds, the air was almost calm. They crashed into the valley floor with bone-jarring force. The landing gear crumpled. But the ship held together. Steam hissed from damaged systems as the engine finally went quiet. Everyone alive. Jiwoo gasped, tasting blood from where he'd bitten his tongue. Define alive, Yuna groaned, pulling herself up from the floor. But yeah, we made it. Through the main viewport, they saw figures running toward them across the rocky ground. But these weren't the desperate survivors Jiwoo had expected. The people approaching looked healthy. Even confident, they wore clothes made from some kind of woven plant fiber, and their skin had a slight tan despite the planet's filtered sunlight. Dr. Seojin reached the ship first. He was a tall man in his 40s with weathered hands and bright eyes. Behind him came researcher Hannah, a woman with short black hair tied back with what looked like braided vines. She carried a staff topped with a glowing crystal. "Welcome to New Eden," Seojin called out as the rescue team emerged from their ship in full environmental suits. Jiwoo stared at him through his helmet visor. New Eden. The reports called this place a death world. Hannah laughed, a sound that seemed impossible on such a hostile planet. Death world. Look round you, Commander. For the first time, Jiwoo really looked. What he had taken for random rock formations were actually carefully constructed shelters, their walls covered in some kind of natural coating that seemed to repel the acid rain. Gardens grew in protected valleys, filled with plants he didn't recognize. A small stream of clear water bubbled nearby, completely clean despite the toxic environment. "How?" Minho whispered, his voice filled with awe. Seojin gestured toward the shelter complex. "Come inside. The air's safe to breathe in there. We've got a lot to explain." The main shelter was bigger than it looked from outside. The walls were made from the planet's natural rock, but somehow they were perfectly smooth and warm to the touch. Bioluminescent fungi provided soft, steady light. The air smelled fresh and clean. "You can take off your suits," Hannah said, settling down on a cushion made from woven fibers. "We've been breathing this air for 2 years." Yuna hesitantly removed her helmet. She took a careful breath, then another deeper one. "It's actually better than ship air," she said in amazement. Dr. Seojin began their story while serving team-made from local plants. When the Confederation ordered the evacuation, 8 of us chose to stay behind. We were studying the planet's ecosystem, and we had noticed something the alien surveys missed: the street. "Orms aren't random," Hannah continued, her eyes lighting up. "They follow patterns based on the planet's magnetic field fluctuations. Once we figured that out, we could predict them hours in advance. But what about the acid rain? The toxic plants?" Jiwoo asked, still struggling to believe what he was seeing. Seojin held up a piece of the strange crystalline material from Hannah's staff. "The Zephyrians were right about the toxins, but they never tried to neutralize them. This crystal formation naturally filters atmospheric acids. We learned to cultivate it." "And the plants that killed the crystalline collective miners?" Minho wanted to know.